All right, let's get started. Welcome to Pilates. Thank you all so much for joining me on this cold, snowy day. Hopefully it is nice and warm in your place. If it's not, hopefully we will warm up soon. Take water breaks whenever you need, and feel free to modify any of the movements. You know, the usual stuff I say. Let's just breathe. Smell that pizza? Yeah, it smells great. I was just telling Vivian that I was eating a slice of pizza at like 12:30 because I got really hungry. And so I'm going to find out really soon whether that was a good idea to eat pizza 30 minutes before Pilates or not. Inhaling through the nose. Anyways, needless to say, it smells like pizza in my place. Oh. So one more breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, just roll it on down. And we continue to breathe. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. Finding that neutral position. Just a small space under your lower back. We're going to move between neutral position and imprinted position. Inhale, neutral. Exhale, imprint. Taking that lower back down to the mat. Getting rid of that space under your lower back. Inhale, return to neutral. Tailbone on the floor. Exhale, imprint. Feel free to have your eye gaze toward the ceiling and not constantly turn to look at me if that's what you need to do. Right now, my knees are bent, feet are hip distance apart. As we shift between neutral position and imprint. It's just a gentle rocking of the pelvis. Good. Go ahead and hold on to that neutral. Hold on to the imprint. And we'll bring the legs up to tabletop position. So knees are at 90 degrees, shins parallel to the ground. On the exhale, slowly lower one leg, moving only at the hip joint, keeping the knee bent at 90 degrees. Exhale to lower, inhale to lift. If you feel that your other leg is going to move, you can put your hands up right on your thighs, kind of like a wall, like a barrier, so that the knee doesn't come past the hips. And it also doesn't move, because you can feel your leg move if it leaves your hands. You just have to do your best not to move your hands. Okay, one more time on each side. Exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. Both legs are going to go down, but you can stop at any point. So if you feel that you're losing the imprint, you take your legs about halfway down. Only take the toes all the way down to the floor if you can maintain imprint the entire time. And you don't feel any strain on the lower back. Exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. Exhale, lower. It also may help that you're pressing into the floor here. Let's do one more. And let's do some oblique work. So you can take your hands out to the side. Either place your elbows down, or you can take your entire hands down. Squeeze your knees together. Keep your knees at 90 degrees. Inhale to one side. Exhale back to center. You can also exhale to lower. Inhale back to center. Keep alternating the breath. It's okay if your knees separate a little bit. I wouldn't take the knees all the way to the floor. You want to keep both shoulder blades anchored to the mat. So as I'm bringing my knees toward the camera, or towards the laptop, it's my opposite shoulder blade that really wants to peel off the mat. And really try to anchor both of them down, especially the opposite one. All right, one more time on each side. You can experiment with just elbows, just triceps pressing into the floor, or you can use the entire arm. So watch that the heels don't drop. Heels are dropped here. Trying to keep that knees at 90 degrees. Now you can drop your heels. Separate your feet hip distance apart and place the feet on the mat. Rolling up into your shoulder bridge, one vertebra at a time. Exhale as you go. Find length. Shoulders all the way through those knees. Inhale at the top. Exhale, slowly roll down. One vertebra at a time. Articulating through the spinal column. Inhale. Exhale, slowly roll up. Actively reach those knees away. Inhale and exhale, slowly roll down. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay, thanks. I love all the thumbs up without even bothering to look up. Keep going with the butt lifts, hip rolls, yep. Good, you're pressing through your heels. So we're finishing on the last one. So slowly roll it on down. Yeah, we're gonna do ab prep. I'm gonna take my hands to my thighs. I'm gonna nod my chin, exhale. As I exhale, using my abdominals, my head, neck, and shoulders will come up. My hands will slide toward my knees. My eye gaze is on my knees. Inhale, hold, exhale. Let the arms slide down. The arms are only moving because your head, neck, and shoulders come up. Inhale, prepare, exhale. Using the abdominals to lift the head, neck, and shoulder blades, sliding the ribs toward the hips. Inhale, exhale. So I'm not actively reaching my arms too much. Basically, my arms are connected to my shoulders and my shoulders are coming off the mats. A couple more times. Good, inhale here. And last time, exhale, lift. Inhale at the top. Exhale, come down. Now we're going to reach arms down by the side for hundreds. So nod the chin, lift head, neck, and shoulders. Arms are going to be pulsing right here. You can keep your feet on the ground. Lift it to tabletop. Straighten those legs or have them diagonal. Here we go. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. 2, 3, 4, 10. Inhale. And exhale. 20. Inhale. Exhale. 30. Inhale. Exhale. 40. If your legs are straight, try to make them very, very straight. 50. Quads engaged. Exhale. 60. Everyone's looking at their knees. Everyone's actively reaching those fingertips. Inhale. Exhale. 80. Inhale. Exhale. 90. Inhale. And exhale. 100. Bend the knees if they're not bent. Slowly lower the head, neck, and shoulders. And flip over onto your stomach for our spine warm-up. With the forearms on the floor, elbows just by your ribs. Chin slightly tucked. Inhale to lift the upper part of the torso, the upper part of your rib cage, keeping the head and neck aligned with the spine. Exhale, we lower. Inhale, gentle press into the forearms from fingertips to elbows. Exhale to lower. We're going to keep the tops of the feet on the mat for now. Inhale and exhale. We're going to do 2 more times with the arm assist. And then if you like, you can keep your arms where they are, or you can take them and reach them toward the toes. Here you're going to feel a little bit more shoulder blade action. So your shoulder blades are going to slide towards each other. You might get a little extra inch of a lift as you reach your arms back. Inhale, arms actively reach. You still want to keep your chin tucked, head and neck aligned with the spine. So no matter what we do with our arms, we're always going to keep the head and neck aligned with the spine. We're trying not to look up because that would be a neck hyperextension, which we are trying to avoid. We have 1 more in this arm position. And then if you'd like to try the 3rd variation of Breaststroke. It is stacking the hands underneath the forehead, giving our spine a little bit more to lift. Now we're going to lift the weight of our arms. 3 more times. Inhale to lift. Lifting chest, arms, and head all at the same time. Last 2. And last 1. Good. Take your hands underneath your shoulder. Push yourself up into a spine stretch. You can either do this rainbow of a spine, or you can sit back and create a C curve, what we call a shell stretch. Like you're forming a shell over a round object. All right, we're going to go into our plank here. So onto my elbows. Elbows are underneath my shoulders. I'm going to reach one leg back, one heel back, tucking the toes under, and then the other. My butt is a little high to start, yes. I can see it and I can feel it. I'm going to slowly start to lower it until I really feel my abdominals kick in without straining my lower back. Eye gaze on your thumbs. Gentle pressure through the forearms. Let's take 3 breaths together. Inhale. On the exhale, draw the belly up and in towards the spine. Inhale, squeeze your quadriceps. Exhale, squeeze your butt. 1 more breath. Everything nice and engaged to that midsection. Exhale. Good. Come on out of that. I'm going to go into our seated position. So usually when we sit, we're our feet hip distance apart. So today's variation of the half roll back is we're going to bring our feet together like this. And then we're going to pretend there's like an object that's like about knee height. And we'll lift our feet over the object and separate. Okay? If you want your object to be a little lower, you can make it lower. So I have my feet together. First, we're going to do the half roll back. So keep the arms forward, help with the counterbalance, C curve in the spine, abdominal engaged. Inhale to lift. Exhale, curve back, half roll down, half roll back. Shoulders, stay relaxed away from the ears. Exhale. Inhale. Again, we're going really close to the tops of my pants, but not quite hitting my lower back. Good. Remember, we're creating tension in our abdominals and not in our shoulders or neck. All right, so we're going to go back and we're going to stay back here. This is where we're going to lift our legs and separate them. Maybe just about the width of the mat. And then lift it back over those objects, the imaginary objects that are right here. And then lift up. All right, so we're going to go back. This is where the work is in the abs. We're going to lift our legs up and over. You know what? It feels like we're drawing these like McDonald's arches. The big, I don't eat at McDonald's, but you know what the arches are like, right? That's what we're doing. I think of another M word. All right, so try to stay stable as you don't have to straighten your legs all the way. If you want to, you can. Remember, I didn't set the heights of the object. So if your object is so high that you want to straighten your legs, okay, straighten your legs, take it over and out. Again, my feet are just outside the width of my mat, and then my feet are together. And they by no means need to be perfectly arched arches. All right, the goal here is balance and a little hip opening. Let's try one more time. Whew. Exhale here. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lift again. Inhale, we are up. And now we're going to roll all the way down for our full roll up. This is all about articulation. Let's flex the feet, really dig those heels down to the mat and engage the quadriceps. Starting with your biceps by the ear, we're going to inhale, nod the chin, exhale, peel your spine off the floor, and reach forward for your toes. It's okay if you don't touch them for that stretch. Good. On the way back, we're going to try for a stacked spine. So typically we go back with a rounded spine, but what we're going to do is we're going to stack the spine, hinge a little bit, maybe just like 20 degrees, and then round back. Obviously, we're not going to go back with a flat spine completely, but there's a little extra challenge when you go from round spine to neutral and then a hinge. All right? If you are getting stuck on the way up here, feel free to bend your knees a little bit. And then as you get to that point where you feel a little stuck, you can shoot your legs out. And it'll hopefully get you past that little hump here. Then keep your legs straight. So from here, you can see my spine is curved. So I'm going to pretend there's a wall behind me. I'm going to stack my spine and my head. I'm going to hinge. So that means a little extra bracing. I don't want you to go all the way down back flat though. So at some point you are going to tuck and roll with control. So the moment you tuck doesn't mean you just let it go. You're still controlling the roll down. Inhale all the way up. Roll yourself up. Exhale here. Nice deep stretch. Inhale, stack. Exhale, really brace those abs and start to hinge. And then in the middle of that exhale, you're going to tuck your tailbone under and roll down with control. Try it 2 more times. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, stack. Exhale, hinge. Tuck. Slowly roll down. Well done. 1 more time. Inhale with the arms. Exhale. Good. You should feel the difference between neutral spine versus the hinge versus the C-curve tuck. All right, the moment we've all been waiting for. We want to adjust our pants because it is just being tugged. All right, we're going into a rollover. Now this is not going to be a full rollover. I'm actually going to use the rollover in a little bit of a momentum. It's a combination move between a rollover and rolling like a ball. So in order for this to work, you need to keep your spine rounded. So with a little bit of momentum, and option to have the knees bent, we exhale here. My hands are pushing down here. I'm going to let go and allow the momentum to have me come up into this V. All right, this is a V, modified V, okay? And then we're going to roll back. Now, if you use too much momentum, it's going to feel like a really nice spine massage. But you want to actually do it slowly enough so you feel your abs. So here I'm rolling back. Feel my abs here. I lower with control, but not with 100% control because I want to have a little bit of momentum that allows me to bring it up to here. And then what stops me, the deceleration, is my abdominals. Because if I didn't have any, I'd fall here. All right, option to have your legs straight or bent. Here we go. Hands are going to be down here to assist with these partial rollover. Exhale, abdominals, slowly lower, inhale, hold, hands down, exhale, inhale. Hold for just a moment and when you're on your shoulder blades right here. Exhale, just to feel the abdominal work. Inhale. Find stillness. Exhale. Remember, you can do this with your knees bent. Right here, inhale. Knees bent here. You can probably straighten your legs when your legs are overhead here. It's okay if it's bent. The reason I prefer not to bend my knees during this little rollover part, because I'm always afraid I'm going to knee my own nose. And I'm afraid others are going to do it too. So you can't really knee yourself if your legs are straight. 2 more times. Exhale. Use your arms here. Inhale. Last time. Exhale. This is going to take us straight into single leg stretch. So we're here. Pick your favorite knee. Hug it. Roll onto the lower back. Single leg stretch. Inhale, switch. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. You can stretch the leg high. You can stretch the leg low. You can stretch in the middle. Wherever you feel challenged to the imprints. Head, neck, and shoulders are up as long as your neck is not feeling fatigue. If it is, you just place head, neck, and shoulders down on the ground. All right, we're not just working our abs here. We're working on our quads. Really squeeze those quadriceps as you straighten the leg. Option to do with your foot flexed, especially if your foot is cramping. Your choice. Hands behind the head. Add rotation. Take the shoulder towards the opposite knee, not the elbow. Let's try to keep those elbows wide. Let's try to keep both shoulder blades off the ground. Inhale through midline, exhale, twist. Inhale, exhale. Support that neck without pulling on the head, without pulling on the neck. 4, 3, 2, double leg, stretch, reach. Once again, you pick the angle. If you want a little more challenge to the imprint, the legs are lower. A little less challenge to the imprint, legs are higher. Arms go by the ears. If your head is down, your arms can go all the way near the floor by your ears. But if your head, neck, and shoulders are up, then you want your arms to stop by your ears. Think up. As you straighten, don't just think outward or away from each other. Think up as well. Last 2. Exhale, inhale, exhale. Good. Scissors. This is a nice hamstring stretch. Eye gaze on the knees or head is down looking at the ceiling. Inhale to switch. Exhale. Start with this nice and slow. Feel the hamstring stretch. Squeeze your quadriceps. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. I'm inhaling as I scissor. Exhaling to relax into the stretch. Not really. This is not relaxing at all. All right, let's stop holding our legs. Reach our arms forward for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knees in, our abs are tired, and we want to be flipped over like a pancake. I've been really obsessed with finding the fluffiest pancake recipe ever since I saw these. I think they're Japanese fluffy pancakes that are this thick. I don't know if they're still raw in it or whatever. But it looks so delicious. I managed to make them this fluffy, but not this fluffy. Anyways, I digress. We're going to lift our spine again, but this time we're going to add a little bit of rocking. So if you remember our bicycle, where both shoulder blades are, one is coming off the ground a little higher, it's similar, except it's not going to be our shoulder blade, it's going to be the opposite of the shoulder blade, which is our chest. Have your hands by your ears, not to pull down on your head. Lift. And then think about tilting a little bit to the right, tilting a little bit to the left. It's a rotation though, as opposed to just leaning and leaning. Okay? We're not purposely aiming to have the elbow on the ground, but in the midst of rotating, one elbow will get closer to the ground and the other one will lift higher. But do your best to keep your head and neck aligned with your spine without yanking your head down. Again, my hands are right by my ears, just to keep my elbow to elbow straight line. Couple more times. Inhale, exhale, keep alternating the breath. All right, good. Take the hands and push up. That one's a little tricky. It's a little challenging because your spine muscles don't really get a break. We never really just put our chest down. One side was always lifted. Stretch it out. Okay, so let's do some side lying leg work. So you want to use the edge of your mats as
as the edge, and you're going to align your body to that. Top leg lifts, flex, and lower. Here is your kickstand arm. I recommend just using a few fingers. The reason why you don't want to lift the top leg much higher than the hip is because you don't want the hip to hike. All right, we want to try to have the leg move within the hip socket joint. Wait, inhale, point lifts, exhale, flex lower. Okay. You want to have your leg move within the hip socket joint without disturbing the pelvis. Here we are targeting the outer thighs. This is what I consider our side-lying leg lift warm-up. This sets us up in the proper position. Ideally, you should not be able to see your foot. If you can, it means your head is not in line with your body, with your spine. All right, I think we've done enough of these. We're going to lift the leg to about hip height and make very small, slow circles. Inhale. Exhale. No bigger than a lime. Lime's kind of big, maybe smaller than a lime. Reverse, inhale for 1, exhale for the second. Keep the neutral rotation in the feet. So all 10 toes, kneecaps are all facing forward. The slower you move, the more muscles you'll feel. So this is my 6th one. All right, we're going to hold the leg up right here. I'm going to have you swing the leg forward with control. So keep the leg at hip height, parallel to the floor if you can. As far forward as you can. Now, you're going to need your hand. If my hand wasn't there, this is what's going to happen. All right? But you're also going to use your abs. Let's take it back. Now, if you would like to have a little more foot choreography, you can point it on the way forward. Flex, imagine dragging your heel back. Let's just get more motion in the ankle joint. Point, reach forward, trying to keep the leg at hip height. Flex, bring it back. There's a lot of work going on here because we're not letting that muscle rest. We're keeping the leg parallel to the floor. It's constantly holding its own weight up against gravity. Yes, I'm moving very slowly. Exhale forward. Inhale back. Really doesn't matter on the breath here. Do what works for you. It should technically feel like exertion in both directions. So that's why it doesn't matter too much whether you're inhaling or exhaling. Abdominals are constantly braced. All right, next exercise is called the bend and extend. So I would keep the foot flexed here. I'm going to pull the knee forward. Again, keeping it at hip height. And then exhale, I'm going to press out. And here you really have to use your imagination. I like to think that there's a car in neutral, and the car in neutral will roll, but it takes a lot of pressure or force to make it roll. So that's where your leg comes in. You're going to exhale and press that neutral car into rolling. Bend. Knee comes forward, legs stacked, right? One is right over the other. And by now you should really be feeling it in the outer thighs because you really haven't taken a break. You've kept this leg up at hip height. Don't worry, you're not doing too many more. The bend and extend. Not to be confused with the bend and snap from what's that movie called? I forgot. Legally Blonde. Okay. So we're gonna bring our knees forward. So that was with our legs in neutral rotation, and now we're going to do external rotation and internal rotation. This is internal rotation because the kneecap goes from facing forward to facing inward. It faces the midline. So keep your knees together and your toes apart. Now, I pulled my knees forward a little bit, and I'm trying to keep my feet aligned with the rest of my body, but everyone's going to be a little different depending on leg length. So figure out what kind of bend works for you If you bend too much, you won't have much range of motion. If you don't bend enough, you won't have much range of motion. I'm aiming for about 90 degrees in my legs. And again, straight down my line, my hips, it goes through my feet. So my knees have pulled forward, but my feet are still in line with the rest of my body. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so that's internal rotation. External, feet together, knees apart. You can see your kneecap is facing forward and then it faces away from the midline. So that is external rotation. You don't really need your kickstand arm anymore when your knees are bent. But what are we going to do with this arm? So it's here. So that's external. And now we're going to lift the top leg. Okay, and it's floating and it's hip heights. And we're going to do what we call a knock knee move. It's internal again, but this time the top foot is floating in space. So notice whenever you're doing internal, the foot doesn't move. Previously, ignore what I just said. Internal rotation, we're always bringing the knee inwards toward the midline. So you can do that by keeping the knees together and moving the foot, or in this case, we're keeping the foot there still and moving the knee. All right, does anyone feel like their leg is about to fall off? Okay. So just do me a favor and do one more exercise. We'll go into the knee dip and then we'll tap the toes. Knee dip, toe tap. Basically, you're taking your upper leg shin and just flipping it. This diagonal, that diagonal. This is the greatest range of motion for your hip, from internal to external. Internal to external. The previous exercise we did right before this was internal to neutral. All right, last two. Sorry, I should do better about counting. I just do it till it's nearly intolerable. Okay. Yeah, I'll stretch it later. We'll stretch it after we've done the other side. Find your nice straight body again. One way to do it, if you don't want to really look at anything, is feel where the back edge of your mat is. So I feel it, and I'm right next to it. And then I put my arm next to it. So I'm basically all along my back edge. Ouch. Oh. Okay, I don't know what I just laid on. Okay, our warm-up exercise. So this is neutral position. Let's get some ankle motion. So lift, point, flex, lower. Lift and points. Find a breathing pattern. Inhale, point, lift. Exhale, flex, lower. Doesn't have to be that if you want to flip it, but be constantly breathing in and out. This is where I like to check my hip to make sure it's not moving. Your leg, your thigh bone is moving within the hip socket joint, not to be confused with this part where you're touching your pelvis and your hip bone, that part's not moving. Okay? See, I don't know if you can tell here, but when my hand is moving, that's my hip hiking. We're trying to avoid the hip hiking. All right, let's go into our little circles. It's 6 in each direction. If you don't trust my counting, count to yourself, but do it slowly. Inhale. Exhale. Really slow, really small circles. And we're trying to keep that leg mostly parallel. And that's part of the reason for being really small, is because we're trying to keep the leg at parallel. If the circle was this big, I mean, I have to go out of parallel in order to draw a circle that size. Let's do one more. I swore I counted to 6. I just count really slowly. So we're going to kick the leg forward. You really need your hand here. As far forward as you can, you'll feel your hamstring stretch. Flex the foot. Oh, you feel your calves there as you drag the heel back. Point. Abs braced. Now there's something that your body can do to counterbalance. If I swing my leg forward and I lean back like this, I don't have to use my abs. The weight of my body just counterbalances movement, which is why if you kept your torso still, you absolutely need to brace your abs. Your hand helps for sure, but your hand can't do all the work. Your abs still have to do some bracing. You don't have to use just your fingers. You may want to use your whole hand. What I would suggest is not pushing into the hand to assist, but only putting as much pressure into the hand as needed so you don't fall on your face. Yeah, all this nice, slow, controlled movements at hip heights is really working on our outer thighs. This is all good for lateral stabilization of our pelvis. Stable pelvis, stable spine. Okay, bend and extend. So you're still going to need your hand because the knee is coming forward, right, as opposed to a butt kicking move. And then thrust out through your heel. Remember pushing away that car. You can push away any heavy object, really. Continuing to breathe. I prefer inhale to bend, exhale to extend. Another word for extend is straighten. Our abs don't have to be quite as braced because our knees are bent, but still try to remind yourself to keep the abdominals drawn in towards your spine. Okay. Now we're going to bend our knees. So I find the back edge of my mat. I kind of keep my feet close to the edge so I know it's staying aligned with my head, shoulders, spine, and hips. Well, not my hips, actually, my tailbone. And then my knees roughly about 90 degrees. And we're going to start with internal rotation. So this is neutral to internal. Kneecap forward, neutral. Kneecap downward or towards the midline. It's not the fact that it's downward, because if I was standing vertical and I wanted to internally rotate my knees, it would be inward toward the midline. Hence internal rotation. All right, it's starting to feel intolerable, so let's move towards external, feet together, knees apart, otherwise known as clamshell. Never had any hip injuries. They often prescribe this in physical therapy. Maybe they'll put a band around your legs so you're lifting and opening against the resistance of a band, not just against gravity. Right now, we're just using gravity, which in itself is pretty good work. I can hear all the snowplows outside. Okay, so let's lift the leg. We're doing internal again. This is neutral, internal, neutral, internal. This has got to be the most painful one, which is why Henry requested it. Everyone, thank Henry. Oh, geez, this is so painful. All right, we're gonna do the extremes. So all the way internal, all the way external. Knees together, toes apart, toes together, knees apart. Keep flipping that. I'll count these so we don't do too many. Let's do 8 more. Four more. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Quick stretch here. Stretch whatever leg's more sore. So I have my ankle over the other knee. The more you pull it toward your chest, the deeper the stretch. And switch. Okay, so I'm gonna do some more abdominal work. We're actually gonna combine our glute bridge, so glutes. Glutes, not to be confused with what we just did, which was all that outer thigh stuff. We go from glutes to a knee bend to an extend. All right. So here you can have your feet about hip distance apart, but when you're gonna lift your legs up, I would squeeze them together. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, squeeze your butt. Lift the whole spine off the ground, so no more articulation. Down and up, right? And then from here, I want you to imprint the spine to lift the legs up. Similar to what we did in the warm-up when we did our toe taps. And then extend it to any angle you'd like. If you extend it more vertical, a little less work on the imprint, and then a little more angle, more challenge to the imprint. From here, bend, lower. Here I've separated my feet. Not a big deal if you don't. Push up into the hips. Hip extension. So here we're stretching the hip flexors. Here, right here, work the hip flexors. Stretch the hip flexors. Braced ab before the feet come off the ground. Extend, bend, and lower. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. So just keep alternating the breath. And if you're not doing exactly what I'm saying, don't worry about it. I just want you to be breathing. I can't emphasize that enough. Full spine comes right off. Think of doing each movement with very specific thought. So here, what are you thinking about? Squeezing the butt, bracing the abs, not hyperextending, dropping the butt, imprinting the spine already before the feet even come off the ground, squeezing your quadriceps. And good. I'm going to add a variation to this. All of this is optional. From here, scissor in return. Let me do that again. So here your knees are bent. One leg goes up, the other goes out. Return. Remember which scissor you did. You're going to do the other side next. Hip stretch, hip flexor stretch. Scissor. Tabletop. Feet down. Tabletop. Scissor. Scissor. Okay, you don't have to do the scissor. If you want to keep doing the double leg extension, you can. One more time through. One more time through means two more. One on each side. Sorry. All right. Now you definitely want your feet hip distance apart because we're going to do non-stop butt lifts, hip bridges, but with one leg off the ground. So which leg shall it be? I'm picking my front leg for now. You can keep it at tabletop or you can have it straight. All right. We're going to go up, halfway down, up, all the way down. So up, all the way, halfway down, so a little pulse, lift and drop. Up, halfway, lift and drop. Up, halfway, lift, or what I call up, pulse, and then come down. So one pulse before your butt gets to rest, before your leg gets to rest. And which butt is working? The leg that's on the ground. It's like we're doing 1.5 for each one. Last one. 1.5 right there. Switch. Remember, your leg can be in tabletop, okay? 1.5 and down. 2.5. I mean, that should be 3, sorry. If I was counting it. If I was doubling 1.5. Ignore my math for a second. That's not what Pilates is about. You know, I talk about angles a lot. Last 2. That one remaining leg on the ground is doing a lot of work. It's got to get both hips up to the same height. All right. We did some teasers almost earlier, right? Remember when we did this movement? And then we're here? Yeah, that's pretty much like a teaser. So we're going to do another teaser, quite similar, but not exactly that. We're going to start with our feet on the ground. And here you actually don't want your feet close to your butt. Slide your feet far, far away, but still try to be flat-footed. Meaning this is too far because my toes pop up. All right, here we go. Inhale. It's okay if you use a little momentum. Inhale. Roll up and extend. Start to bend your knees. Roll down and finish. Inhale, arms, head, shoulder blades. Kick those legs. Good. Don't worry, you don't have to be in here long. You can bend your knees again. Right after you get on your tailbone and come down. So the straining of the leg hopefully will give a little bit of assistance with the roll up. Again, get the arms, head, and shoulder blades here first. Then kick, yeah. Bend your knees again if you need to. But what we're gonna do is as we start to roll down, is you're gonna naturally bend your knees anyways. So this is a teaser starting with the feet on the ground. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. It's a little different from when we started our legs at tabletop and shot our legs out. If you like that variation, feel free to do it. Let's do one more. All right. We're going to actually stand on up and do our standing saw. This is a stretch of the spine, the obliques, and hamstrings. All right, arms out. This is my right hand, my left hand, which is your right. So we're going to take that across. Whatever you can reach on that opposite leg. The other arm reaches high. You're creating that rotation. See if you can keep the legs straight. Stretch those hamstrings. All right, slowly stand on up. And now we're going to twist and reach to the other side. I'm trying to reach to the outside edges of my leg, to the ankle bone on the outside or toward my pinky toe. If you can reach that far. If not, don't worry about it. I'm actually really just the outside of my shin. Okay, and now just drop straight down. Roll down, peel yourself away from the wall. Hopefully it should just be a nice lower back stretch. Hamstring. And then slowly roll your body back up, one vertebra at a time. Roll those shoulders back, lift your chest, find that length in your posture. And then pat your neutral spine for a job well done. Thank you guys so much for coming. It's always hard to do Pilates, and you've always accomplished a lot when you do, so give yourself credit.